So the last what we saw was the electrochemical series. Now electrochemical series tells us that which ions will be difficult to be obtained at the electrodes and which ones will be easy to obtain at the electrodes. So the one which are at the top of the electrochemical series will be difficult to be discharged, whereas the one at the bottom of the electrochemical series will be easy to discharge. So we can just go through the electrochemical series once again. So it will be positive ions में K, then Ca. So that is the difference. यहाँ पे Ca बीच में आता है, उसके अंदर इलेक्ट्रो रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज में यहाँ पे सीधा Na आता है, कैटरीना कार मांगे वाला. तो दिस इज कार पहले आ गई, Na बाद में आ रहा है. So that is Mg and then it's almost similar. Alto, Zen, Ferrari वही सेम ही आ रहा है. Okay, Posh, and then it is hydrogen, copper, and mercury and silver. So you can see that only here the change is there. Means we had that in the reactivity series Katrina, कार मांगे, Alto, Zen, Ferrari. तो यहाँ पे वो एक कैटरीना के ऊपर कैटरीना का ये बीच में कार बीच में आ गया. तो that's the only difference, that there is potassium, calcium, sodium. And मांगे, Alto, Zen, Ferrari, Porsche वो सब सेम ही आ रहा है. And then it is hydrogen, copper, mercury and silver. Whereas in case of this it will be SO4 will be at the topmost in the list, and then comes the nitrates. Now this is also true even in case of the thing that sulfates are more stronger and can be replacing the nitrates, or nitrates cannot replace the sulfates. So वो एक थोड़ा है. Chlorine, chlorides, then bromides, and then iodides, and then OH ions. So OH are the one which will be easily going to be discharged. So that is about the electrochemical series. Now we see the selective discharge of ions. So now we need to identify that if there are multiple kinds of ions present in the electrolyte, then based on the electrochemical series and what other things is the method by which I can identify that what should be the resultant outcome, or what should be the resultant kind of the ions going to be formed, or the compounds which I am going to receive at the electrode. So that is called as selective discharge. The preferential discharge of ions present in the electrolyte are at the respective electrodes is known as selective discharge of ions. So we are going to do a electrolysis. At that time we need to understand that मुझे कौन सा चीज वहाँ पे मिलेगा. Okay, if suppose I want sodium and chlorine, and suppose I am taking some salt solution, but the salt solution is such that it is going to give me H plus and OH or hydrogen and oxygen at the end, because water content पहले split हो गया, तो क्या होगा? It will be of no use for me. I wanted Na and Cl, whereas it is giving me H and OH, HNO, so hydrogen and oxygen. So then it is of no use for me. So how to identify what is that is called as preferential discharge or selective discharge. So let's see the factors affecting the selective discharge. First is relative position of the anion and cation and anion in the electrochemical series. So first thing, what is going to be the cause of the selective discharge will be the electrochemical series. So relative position of the metal or the non-metal in the electrochemical series. Okay, so whether the electrochemical series में वो नीचे है तो पहले मिलेगा, ऊपर है तो बाद में मिलेगा. So if I got the ion, so this is plus, this is 2 plus, this is plus, this is 2 plus, this is 3 plus, this is 2 plus, 2 plus, 2 plus. Okay, so whether अगर मेरे पास suppose I have got this thing and I got this thing, so which is the one which will be available to me will be dependent on this series. So it will be this which I am going to get and not this one. Okay, but if this is there and this is there, then definitely I am going to get this and not this one. So depending upon where exactly, what is the position of the ion in the electrochemical series is going to determine what I am going to get in the preferential discharge. The first thing is, lower the position of the ion forming the element in the electrochemical series, greater the tendency to be liberated at the respective electrodes. So discharge of the cation and anions are respective, they will be between copper and hydrogen. So if it is between copper and hydrogen, it will be the copper which will be discharged at the cathode. Between silver and hydrogen, it will be the silver which will be discharged at the cathode. Between sulfate and hydroxide, it will be the hydroxide which will be given out at the anode. So this is how you can identify that what will be the selective discharge available from a particular kind of electrolyte. Second is concentration of the ion in the electrolyte. So next thing is concentration of ion. That means if I want, like for example, I have got hydrogen ion also, and I have got zinc also. But if I want zinc, then the concentration of hydrogen should be less. That means the zinc का जो भी salt मैंने use किया है, उसके अंदर the amount of aqueous solution, the water present in it should be less. So if the zinc is more and hydrogen is less, then I am going to get zinc over here. Okay. So higher the concentration of the ion, greater the probability of it being discharged at the respective electrons. So NaCl with H2O will give you NaCl, Na plus भी मिलेगा, Cl minus भी होगा, and H plus होगा and OH minus भी होगा. But because if the at cathode you are going to get, means if it is a dilute solution of NaCl. So if I got dilute NaCl अगर रहेगा, तो I am going to get at cathode it will be H plus, and at anode it will be OH minus. But if it is a concentrated NaCl, then cathode will give me Na plus and anode will give me Cl minus. Okay, so you can see that if it is a dilute NaCl solution, then OH, H plus ion will be discharged at the cathode and OH will be discharged at the anode, because H plus gains more easily than Na. Because over here you can see that here it is dilute. ठीक है, यानी ऐसा समझो कि जितना पानी उतना ही सॉल्ट है. अगर ऐसा भी है, फिर भी what is the condition? As per this, it will be H which is going to be given out. But if it is concentrated, means more amount of NaCl and less amount of water, then automatically the ions which are there of Na are much more. And because of the more amount of Na present over there, so despite of Na being high up in this particular electrochemical series, I am going to get Na as a discharge. So in a concentrated NaCl, so you can see in dilute the evolvement will be cathode के ऊपर मिलेगा हम लोग को hydrogen and anode पे मिलेगा oxygen. Whereas in electrolysis of concentrated NaCl, you are going to get over here concentrated cathode पे मिलेगा Na plus भी हो सकता है, H plus भी हो सकता है, but they both are going to migrate at anode. Similarly anode पे भी anode पे भी chlorine भी हो सकता है and OH भी हो सकता है. But despite the high concentration of NaCl at a particular concentration of H plus gains electrons more easily than Na, and Cl preferentially discharge. So you will be getting as, okay, now this is, I missed out something over here. This is something important. Let's understand this thing again. So at cathode you are getting two ions. At cathode you are getting Na plus. So this is giving you at cathode and Na plus and H plus. Okay, at cathode you have got both these things. Despite high concentration of Na plus at a particular concentration, H plus gains electrons more easily than Na, and hence due to this thing you are going to get H plus over here. So it will be, even if the concentration of Na is more, but the hydrogen is so low over here that it is going to be easily getting reduced. So it is easily getting reduced over here, and hence it is getting formed into a H atom very easily. That's the reason at the cathode you are going to get H plus, but the OH or Cl के बीच में the difference being is not so much, and that's why the preferential discharge में भले OH आना चाहिए था, but because of the higher concentration the Cl is going to be released over here. So that is the difference over here, that Cl will be evolved, and hence at cathode you will be getting H plus, and in anode you will be getting Cl2 evolved. The next is nature of electrode. So the third thing what you are going to have for the preferential discharge, the third condition is given as nature of electrode. Now, the nature of electrode is something new. Now, electrodes can be of two kinds. One is an active and the other is passive. When the electrode does not take part in the electrolysis and it is just there for the transfer of the electrons, it is a passive electrode. But if the electrode is such that it gives away its ions, okay, it is not giving you only electrons, it is giving away ions to the electrolyte, and there is a reaction taking place between the ions which are reached over there and the ions of the electrode, then what is happening is the electrode can be said to be as an active electrode. So nature of electrode determines the preferential ions which will be discharged at the electrode. Inert electrode, that is passive, is inert electrode. Iron, graphite, platinum do not take part in the electrolytic reaction. So that's why they are inert electrodes. An active electrode is copper, nickel, silver take part in the electrolytic reaction. So active electrode like copper, electrolysis of CuSO4, electrode is, cathode is copper, anode is copper. So the reaction at anode will be Cu minus 2E will give you Cu2 plus. So what is happening is that anode is not, see normally what happens at the anode is going to take the electron from the ion. But here it is not only taking the electron from the ion, but it is also getting combined with that to form a covalent compound. Cu2 plus from the anode is reacting with the SO4 which is present and which is brought over there in the anode, and SO4 and Cu are combining to form CuSO4. So that's why it is product is Cu2 plus ions. Similarly for aqueous solution of copper sulfate, so you can see over here in case of aqueous sulfate or copper sulfate, is CuSO4 will give you Cu2 plus SO4 2 minus, and water will give you H plus and OH minus, and resultant will be that at the anode the copper itself is entering into the electrolyte. So copper from the electrode is entering into the electrolyte, and hence it is called as a active electrode. Whereas in case of an inert electrode, what will happen is that the cathode is copper but anode is platinum, and in such a case the OH which is going to be there, so reaction at anode will be OH जाएगा और वहाँ जाके discharge हो जाएगा. So it is formed into O2. So OH will gain electron, lose electron and become OH, 1 minus becomes OH, and then OH plus OH will give you H2O plus O, and O will give you O2. So this is how it is going to give you oxygen in case of inert electrode, whereas active electrode may you are not getting anything, you are just getting no kind of a compound is being available, no kind of a discharge is available at the anode. In fact, anode is slowly and steadily getting deteriorated, getting mixed up in the electrolyte. As if the electrode is an active electrode like copper, nickel or silver, the anions, for example SO4, OH, migrate to the anode but are not discharged. Okay, the anions migrate to the anode and they form into a compound and they do not form a discharge. Instead, the active electrodes, that Cu, Ni and Ag itself lose electrons and forms ions of Cu plus, Ni2 plus or Ag2 plus at the anode. So this is why we can see that in the active electrodes it is going to form into ions at the anode. So metal itself, the electrode itself is going to lose ions from itself. So that is about the natural electrodes, nature of electrodes in case of selective discharge of the ions. So this is how the process. So up till now what we understood is the complete process and the different things which are involved in the dissociation and the products which are going to be achieved at the anode and cathode. Now we are going to see some examples of the electrolysis. So this are the main things about the example. So normally questions में इसके पहले का जो वो तो आता ही है, but normally there will be a question where they will give you a figure and then they tell you that okay, what is this kind of a what is the electrolyte, what is the reaction at anode, what is the reaction as cathode, what is the current, all those things we will be getting. So we are going to study the examples now of the electrolysis. So let's see the examples one by one. Okay. So the first one is of molten or fused lead bromide. Okay, the electrolysis of molten or fused lead bromide. Now, you see over here, the crucible what is taken over here is, there is a silica crucible which is used for this particular kind of electrolysis. So electrolysis is going to be done in a crucible over here. Why is it so? Because it is going to be at a very high temperature. Now the electrolysis is going to take place. So this is the electrolysis what is going to take place over here. So this electrolysis is going to take place at a very high temperature, and that's why it is taken in a silica crucible, because you need to heat it at a temperature of about 350 degrees Celsius, so 380 degrees Celsius. So accordingly we see that the electrolytic cell, so we have the different things which are over here. So first is electrolytic cell, which will be a silica crucible. The second thing is the electrolyte will be fused lead bromide. Okay. Then the third one is electrodes. So in the case of electrodes, you have got both the electrodes as iron or graphite. In case of anode, cathode will be iron or graphite. Both are inert basically. So it would be this way, that cathode will be iron or graphite, whereas anode will be graphite. So you wanted graphite because anode जो है वहाँ पे आएगा Br. So you don't want it to react with any of the thing. That's why it is on. Whereas यहाँ पे तो lead ही आने वाला है, तो iron and lead are not going to react with each other. So that's why we can take it iron or cathode. I can take iron or graphite, anything. But anode I have to take graphite only, because otherwise if I take iron over here, it will react with the bromine which is coming over here and give you reactions. So that is one thing. The fourth thing is the temperature. So the temperature is over here as 380 degrees Celsius, which is the melting point of PbBr2. So this is PbBr2 is going to melt at 380 degrees Celsius. So because we are taking it as a fused state, that is molten state, we need to have it at a temperature 380 degrees Celsius. The current what we'll be having will be, current will be equal to 3 ampere, and it will always be a direct current. So it will be a direct current. So it will alternating current, AC cannot be functioning over here. It needs to be a direct current only. And then we see the reactions. So the reactions will be this way. The dissociation will be that PbBr2 is going to give you Pb2 plus 2Br1 minus. So the ions present are Pb and Br, and this is a reversible reaction. So if I cool it, of course it is going to come back to its normal state. And so at cathode, the Pb2 plus is going to gain 2 electrons to become 2 Pb, and I'll just make it Pb, and over here to become a neutral atom. So Pb2 plus on discharge at cathode at neutral atom and accepting electrons. So lead metal silvery grey deposit reduction reaction, and at anode that will be Br1 minus 1E will give you Br, and then Br plus Br giving you Br2. So this is the reaction at the anode. The bromine vapors are going to be formed, reddish brown fumes of bromine. Oxidation reaction is going to take place. So Br1 minus on discharge at anode at neutral bromine atom to give up electrons, and bromine atom form into molecule of bromine. So that's why electrolysis of molten lead bromide involves oxidation reduction, and hence it's a redox reaction. So this is what exactly is the thing over here. Now let's understand this thing in detail. The electrolytic cell is made up of silica and crucible heated slowly from outside. The crucible is made up of silica since it is non-reactive, withstands high temperature, and is also a non-conductor of electricity. So this is the reason why we are using silica crucible over here, because of the three reasons. One is that it is non-reactive, it can withstand high temperature which is required over here, and the third is almost non-conducting of electricity. Solid lead bromide is a non-electrolyte of electric current. So since its ions are not free but held together and by electrostatic force of attraction, and ions become free when lead bromide is in the fused or molten state. Hence the crucible is heated to maintain lead bromide in a molten state. So that's why we know that because the lead bromide is not going to allow the electricity to pass through it in a solid state, so we are taking the molten state, and hence we are taking the electrolyte as molten lead bromide. The metallic lead ions are discharged at the cathode as lead metal, and bromine is liberated at the anode. The cathode is an electron donor, and metallic lead ions need electrons to discharge at the cathode as neutral lead atoms or metallic lead. Hence the lead ions gain electrons to form metallic lead ion atoms. The lead atoms are then deposited as a silvery grey deposit around the cathode. So what you will be seeing, that will be at the cathode, there will be silvery grey deposits, sorry, it will be over here, the silvery grey deposit over here of lead. So lead will be deposited on, so this is the cathode, this is anode, and there will be Br2 given out as gases. So there will be Br2 will be given out as a gas at the anode. Bromine ion gives up electrons, resulting in the formation of neutral bromine atoms. The neutral bromine atoms form bromine molecules to form a covalent bond between them. Reddish brown vapors of bromine are hence seen at the anode. When the molecules of the bromine escape from the molten lead bromide and evolve a bromine vapor. So that is what you are seeing, that reddish brown fumes of bromine vapors, or the bromine vapors of reddish brown in color, are seen at the anode, liberated during the reaction. The cathode and anode are inert in nature and generally made of graphite. So the electrodes are inert since they should not take part in the reaction, otherwise they would prevent the discharge of the respective ions. A graphite anode is preferred to an inert electrode such as platinum, since graphite is unaffected by reactive bromine vapor. So here, because of the bromine vapors are there, you are not taking platinum, because platinum will be too costly, and also it will be getting affected by the bromine vapors, because bromine vapors are highly reactive in nature. So that's why we are using the graphite, which is non-reactive and inert in nature. So so graphite anode is preferred to other electrons as well as just platinum, since graphite is unaffected by the reactive bromine vapors. So summary of the dissociation: PbBr2 gives you Pb2 plus 2 Br minus. At cathode, Pb2 plus 2 electrons gives you Pb lead metal at cathode, and reaction anode will be Br1 minus 1 electron Br plus Br2. To product at the anode is bromine vapors. Compound formed between a metal X Pb and non-metal Y Br on the electrolysis of molten or aqueous solution state generally liberates or discharges at cathode, metal X in pure state and non-metal Y in gaseous or vapor state. So irrespective of whether it is PbBr2 or it is something else, if it is a pure metal and a non-metal combining to form a salt, and you are having a pure metal, you are using a molten state or a fused state के अंदर अगर हम लोग उसको electrolysis करते हैं तो 100% what you are going to get will be the metal X at the cathode and the gaseous or the vapor form of Y as the anode. So XY, it will be this way, XY is going to dissociate to X plus Y minus. So at cathode you are going to get X, and at anode you are going to get Y. Okay, so this is a general thing. So because many times it may happen that instead of taking lead bromide, they take some another substance which will be, and they tell you the molten state में अगर है तो क्या होगा, तो you very well know that it will be exactly the same as lead bromide. So that was the first example of electrolysis. Now we see the next example of electrolysis of acidified water. So acidified water using platinum electrode is our next electrolysis. So I think I can. Okay, I'll take it in the next video. I'll just check out. Yeah, I'll continue in the next video.